everybody, and welcome back to another One Punch Man episode review. We didn't have an episode last week, and that really surprised me when I went and checked last week that we didn't have an episode. I'm not really entirely sure why, and I didn't have time to really check to see if there was a reason why they delayed a week. Whatever, it doesn't really make a difference because the episode that we got was still, a pretty much a One Punch Man episode, so it was pretty entertaining all the way through. And the beginning fight ends off the way differently than what I was anticipating. So I think it's safe to say that a lot of us were really anticipating, a super high action orientated fight of Gouketsu beating the shit out of Saitama like the whole time, and then he would eventually beat him in one punch. Well, the one punch part happened. So of course it begins off where we left off from the last episode, and Tsuryu is crying and screaming for help of a hero, and Saitama shows up. He shows up and he obviously, is looking around at the situation. He sees that Bakuzan is there, doesn't remember him, doesn't remember that he completely demolished him in the second round at all. Bakuzan the whole time is yelling and screaming at him because he's super pissed that he lost, even though he was supposed to be ridiculously strong as a martial artist. Tsuryu the whole time is just kind of freaking out. He goes and checks out or Saitama goes and checks out a couple of the other martial artists that were knocked out from earlier, in a different episode, obviously, right? And Bakuzan's just throwing out kicks and punches and shit, and then of course Saitama just completely demolishes him in one punch, as he does. And then he's told that Gouketsu was trying to have humans turn into monsters, and he was trying to do that for the martial artist, and then Bakuzan had turned himself into a monster with one of the monster cells, and then Tsuryu told him where he was, and then Saitama just started walking away, and Tsuryu is still really kind of like overall super emotional because Saitama is now his hero. And it's actually revealed a little bit later on as Saitama and Tsuryu are fighting after Saitama leaves and one shots fucking Gouketsu. He literally rips off his head and throws it back to the stadium. Gouketsu starts talking about potentially if he can potentially be a hero, and it's very strange for us to hear that coming from him because, well, he didn't really like hero work and all that stuff, from a couple episodes back. He was just like, oh, what's the point of being a hero and this, that, and the other, and da-da-da-da, and now he wants to be a hero. And then he then asks Saitama to be, if he can be his disciple, and Saitama's just like, absolutely not. Because not only does Genos is already, I guess, technically Saitama's disciple, it's not like he ever wanted Genos to be. He didn't want a disciple to begin with. Genos just kind of threw himself onto Saitama, and he just never left. I don't know why. That's so funny to me. So the episode continues. Saitama is starting to get back on track with everything that's going on with the Monster Association. They're attacking different cities from a whole bunch of different places, attacking a whole bunch of pros and stuff. They're turning humans into monsters, and they're trying to rally up their whole monster association so they can go after the hero association. And then Saitama then starts having a monologue with King, because he actually ends up showing up later in the episode. He's saying that he's bored and nothing, excites him. He doesn't feel anything. No matter what he doesn't feel anything. And then King starts going on a monologue of, the reason why he became a hero, Saitama rather. That's who I'm talking about. King starts saying a couple of stuff like you shouldn't be thinking about the feeling that you get when you fight and beat an opponent. You should be thinking about the feeling that you get when you're doing hero work, when you're protecting people. And then of course it ends up being a kind of like a big joke. He's still serious with his point, but it kind of ends up ending off with a joke saying that King read that off of a manga. So I thought that was really funny. Gato, he ends up showing up in the episode. It's been a week since I've seen a fucking One Punch Man episode. I'm sorry. Trying to remember names. Gato ends up showing up in the episode, and Sonic, we'll actually mention him in the episode because he does show up later, and I'll explain what happens to him. But Gato, he shows up. It's explained that he pretty much got his ass kicked by a watchdog man, and he couldn't do anything against him. He says he's barely, escaped with his life. And that's very surprising for us to hear, once again, because Gato is like extremely fucking strong, and he's been able to beat anybody that's ever been in his path. Even Metal Bat, who was absolutely ridiculous in their fight, he just somehow managed to get away from Watchdog Man and just scooted on by. And then, of course, Gato meets King, or he sees King from a distance and starts charging at him. Because, of course, everybody thinks King is like this ultimate badass and whatever, thinks that he can beat anyone, whatever, thinks that he's this top class S level hero. And then Saitama just kicks the shit out of him through a fucking wall. And then Saitama starts talking about, like, yeah, there's this whole thing about the Monster Association. Have you heard about that? And then King's just like, no, I don't know what's going on. And then he's talking about, like, have you heard about the story about the hero hunter guy, fighting and beating up these heroes, whatever? And he's just like, no, I haven't like seen or heard about him whatsoever. And then King says, I hope you find him one day, because Saitama really wants to fight him, and Saitama's obviously really hoping that he, gets to feel a surge of excitement after fighting him. And then they don't even realize that Saitama just kicked the hell out of Gato, the hero hunter, through a fucking wall. And it happened again. It happened again in another episode, because he did this before in a previous episode, and then he did it again. And it just made me laugh, because like I was still expecting it. It's like I knew that was gonna happen, but it just was still funny to me. I don't know why. Maybe I just don't really have a good sense of humor. Maybe I have no idea, to be honest. And then the episode then starts cutting off later into a forest, and you're probably wondering what's going on in the forest. That's where we meet Sonic. Yeah, Sonic makes his debut back in the fucking anime. It's just been gone for a while. He's been gone seemingly for a while, and of course he's just doing his thing. He's training. He's trying to, come up with a whole thing about how he can beat Saitama, because he fucking despises him. And then that's when he's then attacked by Tempest Wild and Hellfire Flame, I believe. I'm gonna check. I want to check. I don't want to be wrong. Hellfire Flame. That's what his name is. So Tempest Wind and Hellfire Flame. They show up and they're like, we're a part of the Monster Association. Join us. You can get stronger. Blah blah blah. Whatever. And then yeah, they did take the monster cells and they turn into monsters. But when you first see them, they look like normal human beings. So I guess monsters have the ability, depending on the monster, I guess, to look like they're like a human version of what they would look like. I have no idea. It's kind of weird. But they give Sonic a monster cell, and then Sonic just then is in a building by himself, an abandoned building by himself, and he's like, okay, I have to sacrifice all my humanity in order to be able to become stronger, and so he's going to become a monster. So I'm sorry, I'm thinking, I don't know why, brain fart. Sonic, is beginning to eat the monster cell. But at the end of the episode, it's revealed that they did a little gag with him eating the monster cell, and it's revealed that he's actually cooking the monster cell and eating it that way. And he's like, I don't have to eat it raw. Why would I ever eat it raw? I hope it would be okay if I cooked it first. And then in text, it says, later afterwards, Sonic had severe diarrhea. And I was just like, really? So is he like a monster now? I don't understand. Like, was he not supposed to cook it? Or was he supposed to eat that shit fucking raw? Because that is gross. Like, really gross. Whatever. So there's this other guy, the gorilla guy who beat some other stuttered on my goddamn words. I said grow. I meant bro. Just fucking, I don't know what I mean. Shut up. There's this like villain-looking villain person. He's literally just like a gorilla. I think he's Marshall Gorilla. That's the villain name that he was given. Yeah, Marshall Gorilla. He's just this big-ass gorilla motherfucker. He's walking around in the street, and then there's this other classist hero who's just trying to follow him. His name's Zombie Man, and yeah, he literally looks like a zombie. And then Marshall Gorilla runs into another, big gorilla, kind of like himself, except they look different. But you kind of are just suspecting him to just be, like a normal average person, because he's just saying that he's trying to go get groceries. He's not, trying to like do anything. He's not like, he doesn't seem like a monster or anything, or part of the Monster Association. Nothing at all. Marshall Gorilla swings a knife at his head, and it bounces off, and then the gorilla guy then reveals that he has a metal fucking fist, and then punches the shit out of him. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So are you are you part of the Monster Association? And I guess he is, because Zombie Man, that guy, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go follow this guy instead, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, oh, whatever. Bang and Bong, or not Bang and Bong, but Bang and Bomb. They, they're just standing around. They're obviously trying to still find Gato, and of course they haven't found him yet. But the entirety of the day, they were doing monster, hunting, like not hunting, but they were, eliminating monsters as because they're threats, etc., etc. Bang is still trying to like do whatever the fuck. He's doing monologues with himself inside his fucking head. There's a guy who shows up at the Hero Association. He says there's a message from the Monster Association, and the episode cuts off there. There's pretty much nothing else after that, and it was a fun episode. It was an entertaining episode, to say the least. There was a couple things that I was like, oh, I didn't expect it to end that way, but I guess that makes sense. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see Saitama and Gouketsu fight, because I think that would have been really cool. But I guess that's just not the way that things were meant to be. What the fuck ever. I don't care. That's pretty much it for the episode, though. And I'm gonna have to return next week to see what happens next. So whatever. That's it for me today. I have a couple of videos that are going to be coming out over the course of the next couple of days. I'm recording this on Thursday morning, and maybe I'll get it out later Thursday morning. I'll have to, edit it, render it, and schedule it for later today, hopefully, if I'm not fucking lazy, but whatever. But yeah, that's it for me today in this video. If you did enjoy it for whatever reason, be sure to leave a like. If you are new, subscribe for more videos just like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful day. I'm out. Peace.